Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another cutting and sewing tutorial. If you are new here, thank you for tuning in, and to my old subscribers, thank you for always coming back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you how I made this beautiful dress. I know this is something you would like to know more about. Please keep on watching and let's get started. If you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so you will get notified anytime I upload a new video. Now let's jump right into the cutting and the sewing of this dress. For this style, I have 3 yards of scuba fabric here, and it is a stretchy fabric. I would advise that you use a scuba or crepe for this style, and I'll be using a zip also. I am starting with the front pattern. I have the shoulder line, the chest line, the bust line, the underbust line, and the waist line. Shoulder to the chest line is 8.5 inches, to the bust line is 11 inches, to the underbust is 14 inches, and to the waistline is 18 inches. I'll go in with the shoulder measurements divided by 2 plus 0.5 inch for seam allowance. I'll mark it on the shoulder line and also on the chest line, and I'll connect with a straight line. Next, I'll go in with the neck width and the neck depth. I'll use a neck depth of 3 inches and a neck width of 3.5 inches, and I'll connect with a curve. From the shoulder line, I'll come down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slope, and I'll connect with a straight line into the neck width. Next, I'll go in with the bust measurements divided by 4. I'll mark it on the chest line, and from that point, I'll go up by 3 inches, and at the 3 inches mark, I'll go in by 0.75, and I'll connect the 3 points together to form the armhole. The next step is to go in with the waist measurements divided by 4, and I'm adding 2 inches allowance for that, and I'll connect with my curve. On the bust line, I'll mark the nipple to nipple measurement, that is the bust span measurements divided by 2. For the measurement I'm working with is 8 divided by 2 is 4 inches. I'll mark 4 inches on the bust line and also on the waistline, and I'll connect with a straight line. I'll come out by 1 inch on both sides of the dart leg on the waistline, and I'll connect with a straight line to the bust point. The next step is to mark the bust dart. The difference between the front and the back half length is 2 inches. So from the bust line, I'll come down by 2 inches, and I'll connect with a straight line to the bust point. On the underbust line, I'll mark the round underbust measurements divided by 4. And from that point, whatever I have left, I'll divide it on both sides of the underbust line, on both sides of the dart line. On the side facing the center front, I'm putting 0.75, and I'm putting 1 inch on the side facing the side front, and I'll connect with my curve to the bust point. After connecting to the bust point, I'll also connect it to the waistline like so. If there is any pointy part, you can blend like I'm doing with mine here. You don't need any sharp point on the pattern. I want the neckline of this bustier dress to start from the chest line, so the neckline of this dress will start from the chest line. Notice the way I am placing my curved ruler. I'm placing it on the chest line, and at the same time the curvy part is at the armhole point. Take note of the way I placed it and then go in with your marker. Now the next thing is to extend that nipple to nipple measurement to the top of the new neckline we have. Mark the 4 inches again and connect into the bust point. The next thing is to tighten the neckline. I'll come out by ½ inch on both sides of the dart leg, and I'll connect it with a straight line to the bust point. That is all on the front pattern. I'll cut it out now. I have the shoulder line, the chest line, and the waist line. Shoulder to the chest line is 8.5 inches and to the waistline is 16 inches. I have a zip allowance of 1.5 inches by the side of the pattern. I'll go in with the shoulder measurements divided by 2 plus 0.5 inch for seam allowance. I'll mark it on the shoulder line and also on the chest line, and I'll connect with a straight line. Next, I'll mark the neck depth and the neck width. I'll use a neck depth of 1.5 inches and a neck width of 3.5 inches, and I'll connect with a curve. Here, I am extending the neck width to the zip allowance. I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant and I'll connect it into the neck width. Next, I'll go in with the bust measurements divided by 4 and I'll mark it on the chest line. From the shoulder slope, I'll divide what I have left into 2 and get the midpoint. At the midpoint, I'll go in by 0.5 and I'll connect those 3 points together to form the armhole. On the waistline, I'll go in with the waist measurements divided by 4. I'll mark it and I'll also add 1 inch allowance for that. And I'll connect the points together with my curved ruler. The next step is to mark the bust span measurement, that is the nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2. I'm marking 4 inches here. I'll mark it on the waistline. From the chest line, I'll come down by 1 inch. That is where I'm going to place the measurement and I'll connect with a straight line. I added 1 inch allowance for that to the waist measurement, so I'll come out by ½ inch on both sides of the dart leg and I'll connect it like so. Here, I'm extending the chest line to the zip allowance. I am doing this because the neckline of the back will also start from the chest line. Same thing we did for the front, the neckline started from the chest line. Now, I will extend the dart leg to the new neckline and take in 0.25 on both sides of the dart leg, and I will connect straight to the waistline. That is all for the back pattern. I am cutting out now. Here, I'll close the dart on this back piece because I don't want a dart on the back pattern. Close it like so and use a masking tape to secure it. Now that the back pattern is just plain, you need to label it so that you don't get confused in identifying the sides of the pattern. So you can point a arrow to the top and write your side back on the side back. You can place notches on the pattern so that you can easily identify which part is which one. This is the lower part of the dress and I have transferred to fabric. If you don't know how to draft a skirt pattern, I'll put the link in the description box so that you can watch how I drafted mine. This right here is the back of the skirt, and because I am using a scuba fabric, I only added ½ inch allowance to the sides and ½ inch at the top. I also closed my darts on the pattern because I don't want a dart on the skirt. So if you're not working with a stretchy fabric, make sure to add enough allowance while transferring to fabric. This is the front part, and just like I explained with the back part, I only added ½ inch allowance to the top and the side. I'm working with a stretchy fabric, so too much allowance is not needed. You can even transfer to fabric, same thing you have on the pattern. These are my front pieces, the upper part, and I have transferred to fabric, and I added ½ inch allowance around the pattern. The center front must always be cut on fold, and I'm just taking out the patterns from the fabric now so that we can see what we have. Please make sure to add all the necessary allowance while transferring to fabric. Now, I'll place each of the pieces, the side piece on the center front, right side facing each other, and I'll go ahead and stitch with ½ inch to join the pieces together. Make sure that the right side of the center front is facing the right side of the side front, and go ahead and stitch with ½ inch seam allowance. I'll do the same thing to the other side, and I'll bring it back and show you. These are the back pieces for the upper part. I've taken out the pattern so that we can see what we have. The same allowance I added to the front pieces is what I also added to the back pieces, 1/2 inch round the pattern. The next step for the back pieces is to fold the neckline. I'll fold with 1/2 inch allowance at the top. You can first overlock the neckline, then fold it once if you have an overlocker. After joining the front pieces, this is what I have now. Overlock the seams and press it flat. It is important to press while sewing. For the top part of the top, that is the neckline, I folded with 1/2 inch allowance at the top, overlock and fold it once. The next step is to join the upper part to the lower part. I am pinning it together, then I'll go ahead and stitch with 1/2 inch. Join it together with 1/2 inch seam allowance. After folding the neckline at the back, this is what I have now. The next step is to join the lower part to this upper part. I'll place one piece of the upper part to the lower part. Make sure that the right side is facing each other, and I'll pin it together and go ahead and stitch with 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'll do the same thing on the other side, and I'll bring it back and show you. This is what the front of the dress is looking like now. After joining the upper part to the lower part, I overlocked and I pressed it properly. Make sure to iron everything properly by the time you are done stitching. And now this is the back. The next step is to go ahead and join the sides together. To join the sides, I'll use 1.5 inches to join it together. Remember I told you that I am working with a stretchy fabric, and while transferring my pattern to fabric, I added 1/2 inch allowance to the side. The reason why I'm using 1.5 inches is because if I use that 1/2 inch I added, the dress will be loose because I am working with a stretchy fabric. That is why I said you can decide not to add any allowance to the side while transferring to fabric, because if I didn't add any allowance, I will use 1 inch to join, but because I added 1/2 inch, I will use 1.5 inches to join the sides together. Yeah, I am done joining the sides together, and this is what we have. I have pressed the seams flat and I overlocked the inner seams to finish it up. The next step is to determine the width of the ruffles we are going to cut out for the top of this dress. Now you are going to take the measurement you have from the back all the way to the front. Just like you see me doing with mine, take it from the back all the way to the front and take note of what you have. Whatever you have, you will multiply that measurement by 2, and that will be the width of the fabric I'll cut out for the design we have at the top of the dress. After taking the measurement, I got 36 inches and I multiplied that by 2, which is 72 inches. The length I cut out is 10 inches. Now, I cut out that 36 inches in 2 places to give me the 72 inches. And I divided one of the fabric into 2 because I don't want any joining on the center front. So I divided one of the 36 inches fabric into 2. And I will join one piece to one side and the other piece to the other side. I'll go over to the sewing machine and do that now. This is what I have after joining. I folded the top of the fabric once and I also folded the bottom once with 1/2 inch. You can see a line on the fabric, and from the top of the fabric I came down to 3.5 inches and I marked it all the way to the end of the fabric. And I used the iron to create the line you can see on the fabric. The reason why I created this line is to give me a straight part to stitch on. I'll take it to the sewing machine now and create 2 loose stitches on the fabric so that we can form the gathers. Yeah, I have the 2 loose stitch on the fabric now, and I'll pull the 2 top thread so that we can form the gathers. I'll start pulling bit by bit to form the gathers. So this process may take a little bit of time. Just keep pulling till you have enough gathers that will fit into the space we need it for. I am done pulling here and this is what we have. I'll set this aside now and bring in the dress. You need to mark where you want to fix the gathers to on the dress. Now from the top of the dress, I'll mark 2 inches. I'll come down by 2 inches and mark it all the way to the other side. So from the top, mark your 2 inches and mark it all the way around. For this part, 2 inches is not constant. You can come down by 1.5 inches or 1 inch. I know you can't see my markings clearly on the fabric because I am using a yellow chalk, but I marked directly on the right side of the dress. To the part where you have the joining on the one you formed the gathers on, you will match it to the marking you have on the dress. So match it together and pin it down, and you will go ahead and stitch on that line. Like I explained earlier, I'll take you to the process at the sewing machine. So while stitching on top of the fabric, make sure that you are stitching directly on the line you marked on the dress, and make sure that you are spreading your gathers evenly. One side is not too much with the gathers and the other side is scanty. Make sure that you are spreading it evenly and make sure that you are actually stitching on the line you marked on the fabric. I'll keep checking and stitching till I get to the end of the fabric. After stitching, this is what we have. Please make sure to press it properly. I have not pressed mine here. Now, the next thing is to join the back of the dress. Fold the back like so, and from the top, mark the length of the zip you want. From the top, I'll mark 19 inches, that is where my zip will stop. And from that 19 inches mark, I'll take it down and mark not till the end because there will be a slit at the back. My slit will be between 7 inches or 8 inches in length. Mark until where your slit will start and go ahead and stitch that part. After stitching, this is what I have, and this is the part where I'll fix the zip to. Make sure to iron stay to your zip allowance so that your zip does not fold up, because we are working with a stretchy fabric. I have also created the slit at the bottom, and this is what I have. For the hem of the dress, I'll fold with 1 inch, and the last step is to fix the zip to the dress. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. Please turn on your notification bell so you will get notified anytime I upload a new video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.